Morning, everybody. Okay, this is day 2 of your section 1.2. The only thing I'm going to do different than what I went through yesterday is I'm going to add in multiple steps. So yesterday we just focused on, when it was a vertical translation, it was just adding up or down. When it was a horizontal translation, it moved it left and right. We didn't do multiple ones at the same time. We just did one as compared to doing more of them at the same time. So here's what you're going to expect on this one is it's going to ask you to write the rule just like you did yesterday. The only difference is I'm going to give you a couple of them at a time to do rather than just one. So we're going to combine them. Okay, so when it says something like this, it says let the graph be vertical shrunk. So we got a vertical shrink by, it even gives you the decimal form, so it's a little bit easier for you, but 0.25, followed by, so that means that this is going to be the first thing that we do. Then it says followed by a translation 3 units up of the graph f of x equals x. So what it's doing is it's taking that original parent and it's asking you to do those two things on it in that order. So it wants you to do a couple of things for it, but it specifically says in that order. So remember yesterday we talked about vertical shrink. And remember when we said vertical, we were always outside the grouping symbol, and shrink or stretch means to multiply. So you're going to take 0.25 and you're going to times it by x. So right now that's the first step where you're going to take 0.25x. Then the second step that you're going to do, and I'll kind of underline that one in, we'll go brown. This one here, now we're going 3 units up. And remember what we did with that is we put the entire thing in parentheses and we pushed it up 3. And then we try to simplify it from there. So we end up with 0.25x plus 3. That would be first a vertical shrink by 0.25 and then a shift up 3. Okay? And that is the answer. So the answer went from being f of x equals x into this new piece where it says 0.25x equals 3. So the difference between this one and today's stuff is every single one of the problems I gave you today, or every single one of the problems I gave you yesterday, that is, had only one thing, like one shift up or one shift left or one vertical stretch this way or whatever. This one's going to give you a couple different things going on rather than just one. So let me give you another one as practice. It says let the graph be horizontal. I'm going to find a better one here for you. We didn't do horizontal stretch. Okay, here we go. It says let the graph be a translation 6 units down. So the first one was 6 units down. Then it said followed by, so the second thing would be followed by a reflection in the x-axis. And the graph, or the original starting one, is f of x equals the absolute value of x. Now this is where it's nice. The parent doesn't matter what it is. We're still going to do the same exact thing. Okay? So when we have something like this where it says a translation 6 units down first, followed by a reflection over the x-axis, we have, first of all, your 6 units down would be, remember we're inserting that parentheses around the whole thing and we're putting a plus 6 on the outside. No, sorry, not plus 6. A minus 6 because we're going down 6. And if I simplified it out right now, I'd have the absolute value of x minus 6. And then when we say a reflection over the x-axis, which I guess I forgot to write the x, But when you say a reflection over the x-axis, I'll put that one in brown, so we kind of go on two different ones. Now remember, x is again vertical, so we're going to put it again in parentheses and a negative on the outside. So when you do that, we distribute it into here, we distribute it into here, and I have a negative absolute value of x plus 6. And that would be my final answer. So just so that you guys are aware of it, when you're doing that, take it one step at a time. Okay? So when you're doing that, just go one at a time first, just like you did for today, or just like you did yesterday, that is. It depends on when you watch this. But when we did the first section, that is, just take it one step at a time. One and then the other. And when you look at your assignment, you're going to notice that that's a whole lot of everything that they're going to ask you to do. They're going to say things like a translation 3 units down, followed by a vertical shrink by a factor of 1/3, stuff like that. So they're going to ask you to do the same thing we just got done doing. Then in this part here, they'll also identify what they do wrong. They'll ask you to tell me what they did wrong. And then one word problem that deals with it. Suppose what happens, how can the transformation work? So basically what you're doing is you're trying to figure out, using the transformations, answer the question that we had, like the vertical and horizontal stuff. So again, it's very similar to the screen that's up there right now, where it's going to give you two different things on that parent or on that first equation, and then ask you to do those in that order. So again, do the first one, simplify it, then put the second one in there, simplify it, and then you should have the right answer. So again, this one was really short compared to the other day, so at least today, hopefully, you guys should have some work time. And then that'll all be due on Thursday. So we'll go through all of that together on Thursday. If you guys have any questions, okay? Then I'll be back in the afternoon if you guys don't quite understand something. All right, so I will see you guys tomorrow. Later.